Hi and welcome back to the countertop, and today we are doing pan pizza from Forkish. Hi and welcome back. And the recipe I'm doing today is from this book, The Elements of Pizza by Forkish. This is not my first book from Ken. I also have his first book, Flour, Water, Salt and Yeast, which I use too much. I read this book, I understand all the process from yeast, natural fermentation, different types of bread, different types of flour. I highly recommend these two books if you're into bread and if you're into those in general. It's a very nice pair of books that you should have. And the recipe we are doing today, it calls Saturday Pan Pizza Dough, which is basically allows you to do a pizza, start doing the dough like around noon to eat the pizza around 5. So this is really good. This is really easy. Of course, you don't develop all the flavors for the fermentation. You do a short fermentation, but still very good. Okay, so I'm gonna put here all the ingredients for us, not doing just the dough, but also the sauce and the cheese we're gonna use for the pizza. All right, let's go for the ingredients. So here's all the ingredients that we need for our pizza. So starting with the dough, you're gonna need 500 grams of 00 flour or bread flour, both works. 375 grams of lukewarm water, so a little bit warm, so the yeast can pump a little bit more. 2 grams of dry yeast, 11 grams of sea salt. You're also gonna need 75 grams of olive oil. For our sauce, you're gonna need 1 can, 800 grams of whole peeled tomatoes, 1 garlic clove, 8 grams of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. And for the topping, we're gonna need 50 grams of Parmigiano Reggiano, 150 grams of low moisture mozzarella grated, 125 grams of fresh mozzarella. We're gonna cut these very thin, as I already did here. And you're also gonna need some olive oil and some basil leaves. All right, so let's start doing the dough. First thing, I grabbed one of these Cambros here. You can use whatever recipient you have. I just think it's more easy. So the first thing, we're gonna put our water here and our salt. Don't forget the water should be a little bit warm. And you're gonna mix this until you have your salt pretty much dissolved, something around 1 minute. And now you're gonna put the yeast and do the same thing. So just leave the yeast to dissolve in this water. And you're gonna let the yeast here to dissolve for 2 or 3 minutes before we continue. Now with our yeast dissolving this water, we're gonna add the flour here. And now it's time for you to mix everything until you have one big dough ball. I normally like to mix first with a wooden spoon or a spatula just to make it easier and faster. But then at some point, you're gonna need to put your hands here. And now we're gonna let these rest for 20 minutes before we start kneading. So we're just gonna cover and leave it here, all right? After 20 minutes that our dough lasted here, we're gonna put some flour in our working surface. And you're gonna knead these for just 1 minute or something, just really quickly until you have a smooth dough. My tip is to wet a little bit your hands so you can knead the dough a little bit easy. And the secret here is trying to make this knead as easy, fast, and also making sure that you mix all the ingredients together. As you can see, because the dough is very wet, and you can also see this beautiful skin of the dough. And now that we knead our dough, you're gonna put a little bit of this olive oil back in your dough tub. and try to cover everything, and like have a little bit of olive oil also on the walls. And you're gonna transfer your dough to the tub. Now we're gonna rest these for 4 hours. So basically this will double the size. And while we wait, let's just have the tomato sauce pretty much ready. So when this is done, we can start baking right away. So now let's do our sauce. So for our sauce, what we need, besides all the ingredients that I told before, is 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. So basically, you're gonna put everything, like the olive oil, the salt, the garlic, and the oregano in the blender. And also you're gonna get like 2 tomatoes first, put in here. And then you're gonna blend these very well until everything is together. And then you're gonna add the rest. Now that you put, now everything is blended, you're gonna put the rest of your tomatoes here. You can keep some of the tomato water out if you want more like a dense sauce. Normally this is the way I prefer. And now what I'm gonna do is a very simple thing. You're gonna just pulse very quickly just to break a little bit the tomatoes, but not much. We still want the chunks of the tomato rolling out. Okay, let's continue. That's it, very simple. Now we have our sauce. Now let's go back to our dough. Cool, so after 4 hours, as you can see how the dough has grown up, which is insanely how you can see the bubbles and all those things, which is good. But before we're doing the dough, let's focus on the half-bake and half-sheet pan. So the first thing you're gonna add here 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and you're gonna spread all over the place, including in the rims. Cool. Now we're gonna leave this here. Grab some flour, put here on our working surface, and let's put our dough. And before I open this dough, don't forget to put your oven on the top temperature that you have. In my case, it's 290 degrees Celsius. So we can start baking the pie after that. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna try to open these as much as you can in a rectangular shape, close to your half baking sheet looks like. And now it's the time that you transfer the dough to the baking sheet. Cool. And now you're gonna let these to rest for 30 minutes while we wait our oven at least like to have like 45 minutes with superheated. All right, so let's just wait. Cool, so now that after 30 minutes our oven is ready, super hot. I forgot to tell you, if you have a baking steel or a baking stone, put in the oven, so that will help to bump the temperature in the oven as well. So now the first thing, you're gonna bake these in 2 steps. So the first step, we're gonna put just 1 spoon of our tomato sauce across all our pizza. And you're gonna bake these for 15 minutes, and before we're gonna put all our cheese and a little bit more of the salt. All right, let's put this in the oven. So after 15 minutes, we pre-bake our pizza. So now all the dough is basically quite baked. Now it's time for us to put our toppings. So the first topping we're gonna put is the Parmesan. So Very simple. Now let's put a little bit more about the sauce. Now the rest of the Parmesan. And now let's put our grated mozzarella. Finally, our fresh thin slices of mozzarella. And before you put these back to the oven, you turn your broil for 5 minutes just to make more heat to be stored in your baking steel. Then you go back to your oven, you put these for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, you turn your broil for 2 minutes maximum, just to have more like a burned spots on the pizza, and it's done. All right, let's put this in the oven. So here's our pizza. Now let's cut it and try. Cool, so let's try it. Let's see how it goes. I also put some basil leaves on the top. This is probably the best pan pizza I ever had, and honestly, this is so easy, so simple to make. I probably will make these a lot. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to tell your friends, to follow the channel. Please leave in the comments what you like, what you don't like, and see you next time. Bye.